Hey, what is up guys? GuitarRock here, welcome back to another Nikke Goddess of Victory video. Alright, right now we still have the Evangelion collab. One more week before all of this banner goes away. And I figured I'll do a last final video to give you guys my thoughts, my perspective on all the Evangelion characters in terms of if you guys are trying to pull, alright, between Rei Tentative name, Asuka Wille, and Mary is right here as well, Mary Makinami, alongside with the old Rei, the old Asuka, and 5 banners, right? It's going to be really hard for you to choose, and I get it. If you guys are new, obviously you gotta prioritize on a couple of things. If you can afford to get one copy, that is going to be the best play. Now I'm going to repeat this several times in the video, but the concept remains the same. If you can afford to get one copy of each characters, that's going to be what you want to do. Alright, ideally prioritize on getting one copy of each characters rather than going for dupes. Dupes are not going to be that much needed in this game compared to most other games, and also if you are new, the 160 gate, you gotta prioritize on doing that for the standard banner characters. Now with that, first things first, you guys might not be aware of this, but right now this particular long hair Rei wallpaper can be obtained from the minigame. So I'm sure you guys are aware by now, but for those of you who are not aware, just a gentle reminder, you might want to start grinding right now. Because the minigame takes a little bit of time to basically play, and you gotta get through all the achievements. So if you guys are not aware yet, the minigame has a very unique feel to it, alright? So basically you're piloting a jet or an Evangelion mech somewhat, moving them around and shooting in the process, right? So all of these missions right here, there's daily missions that you gotta do to get all of the daily gems. It's going to be 30 gems, so pretty substantial amount, but the challenge is going to be what's important. You can see you gotta complete every single one of these, right? So you gotta basically get through to the part upgrade, which is all of these. Now obviously, if you're trying to just get the last one, basically to grind all the part upgrades, just go right here into the easy, alright, easy for the stage 12. You can also grind all of these collection items as well, because each of the stage will give you the collection items. So make sure you guys are paying attention to that. So these are the collection items right here. So it's this thing, you gotta stay on top of it. And there, we got it, right? So those are going to be harder to obtain for sure, right? To basically give you the higher score right there, right? And if you care about getting everything 100%, that's going to be something that you can see right here in the list. You can also complete all of this. Now let's go back to the Evangelion characters. Who should be your priority? Alright, so if you can basically pick one. Right now, there's going to be 2 variants of Asuka, 2 variants of Rei, and there's going to be a burst 2, which is Mari Makinami. She's going to be the only one right here that is going to be pretty unique, in line with the burst 2 category of characters, whereas everyone else is going to be burst 3. Now I'm not going to go through in their skills again. I'm going to assume you guys have watched my previous video, but the idea here is every single one of them are quite meta. Alright, so if you look at the placement in the meta, I would say they are all relatively good. Alright, but none of them are going to be a bad, which is kind of good, right? So if you get any of them, I would say all of them are going to be really strong to a somewhat equal level. But if I have to pick one, as you can see, I've made a tier list right here to give you guys an idea. If I have to pick one for my account, and I can only choose that particular one, and that's going to most likely be Asuka Wille. Alright, so Asuka Wille is going to be the very good one, this character right here. So she is by far going to be the most prominent one. She is going to be one of the highest one in dealing damage. Now, she's still a little bit behind Scarlet Black Shadow for the win DPS in the game, but she's second place right now, which is still really strong. Alright, very good accomplishment, and I would highly recommend you guys to try to obtain her if you are trying to get a DPS character. Now, the truth is there's not many win DPS right now. If you look at all the other burst 3 win DPS, if you are slotting it in terms of win, you can see we don't really have that many characters, right? Compared to the other Asuka and the other Rei, which is going to be fire element. If we were to sort it by fire, you can see right now we have slightly more choices, way more characters compared to Win. So Win, I believe, has one of the least in terms of the element in the game. Now obviously, things are going to change in the future, and I get that, but for now, Asuka Wille, extremely strong. I would even say that she's probably going to be the more lasting one in terms of the future proofness. If you care about future proofing your account, she is probably going to give you the tangible benefit. Now, let's talk about, now that she's out of the way, notice I put Rapi Red Hood here. I do think that Asuka Wille you know, she's almost going to be comparable to Rapi Red Hood in terms of what she's trying to do in terms of both our machine gun DPS. But I think Rapi Red Hood is going to be the best in her category or her element in terms of fire DPS right now. Which is why I don't think Asuka is going to be as much as a must-have. Right, so that's going to be something, an angle that I'm going to look from in terms of giving you an option for DPS. Now, ideally, of course, if you can, like I mentioned in the earlier part of the video, if you can obtain all of them one copy, you should try to do so, right? But if you have to choose between Asuka Wille and Asuka, definitely I'm going to lean towards Asuka Wille. She's going to be the better DPS, whereas for Asuka, she's still really strong. She's very, very solid. However, she got outclassed and sort of like replaced by, I want to say replace, but if you have Rapi Red Hood and you only need one fire character or one fire DPS, you're going to use Rapi Red Hood. There's just no reason for you to use Asuka. Sure, she has Pierce and stuff, but in, I would say 80 to 90% of the situations, Rapi Red Hood is just going to be way more versatile, right? Now, if you need Pierce, alright, which I am aware that she has, then we also have Alice for that, right? Alice is also available, easily accessible to all the players, you know? You get her from the point boosting, which is free, so I don't see why you would want Asuka per se. Now again, like I mentioned, if you're trying to tackle solo raids, you're an endgame player, that's going to be something to consider. Of course, you want to get more characters and that's going to fill your roster, right? But if I have to pick between these two, it feels like Asuka really has the better standing value right now, contribution to your, in terms of contributing to your accounts overall, right? So let's talk about Rei. Alright, we got two Rei right now. So not to be confused, there's going to be a Rei Tentative name, which is going to be this particular one, which is a wind type. I've put on the costume. Costumes can be obtained for free. Make sure you guys are doing that. So it's going to be this particular DPS variant. Now the purpose of Rei Tentative name and the purpose of Rei Ayanami right here is going to be quite similar. Alright, so what do I mean by quite similar, right? They are not really, even though they are both burst 3, you use them more in complementary situations to complement their counterpart or to boost the other main character. In this case, Rei Tentative name is going to help boost Asuka Wille, and then Rei Ayanami here is going to help boost Rapi Red Hood. That's probably where you're going to use both of them, alright, in terms of buffing the other character, buffing the main DPS, because both of them are supportive characters in burst 3. Now again, I would say Rei Tentative name is, it feels like she's way more flexible, alright? If you look at her skill 2 right here, right? She has the ability to not just help Asuka Wille, but it also helps a machine gun who have used their burst skills. One more thing is right here, you can see, affects all allies. Everybody is going to get increased attack during full burst. Very, very good right here, right? But other than that, she has this particular skill 1, which is definitely contributing to helping Asuka Wille, and her burst skill right here is quite pretty good. She can do like AoE damage. This can be good in story, right? But ideally, from my point of view, I don't want to talk too much about story because there's a lot of better options. For example, like Modernia and stuff that can carry you in story. So those characters are going to be something that you can obtain eventually, right? So in terms of just what the capability that she can do, ideally if you're fighting against in solo raids and union raids and in bossing, Rei, you know, Tentative name is going to be used to complement, in this case, Asuka Wille. Now, Rei Ayanami, the older version, the fire version. Now for this particular variant, you can see she is going to have a lot of boost here as well, but her boost is much more focused on helping fire code allies. So you can see this one only affects fire code allies, and this one only affects fire code allies. So if I have to pick one, I'm going to lean towards Rei Tentative name in terms of priority, because of she has a universal boost that also helps someone else other than Asuka Wille. Whereas for Rei Ayanami, her buffs is very good, but she only works for fire code Nikkes. Keep that in mind, alright? So she benefits more when you're putting her, slotting her into a fire team. Now, things are going to change, however, if you don't have Asuka Wille. Alright, like I said, let's say right now you don't care about Asuka, you hate Asuka, right? You don't care about pulling both Asuka. You have zero intention to get off both of them, and if you care about meta somewhat, right, which is going to be the better Rei then. Now in this case, alright, you don't have Asuka Wille, then you should probably get Rei Ayanami, the fire version. Alright, in this case, why is that? Because she's going to help you a ton later on to buff Rapid Red Hood. Now you may or may not have Rapid Red Hood for now, depending, right? Rapid Red Hood is one of the strongest fire type characters, like I said, and she's not the only one. We have Modernia, we got Alice as well, right? So she's going to be able to help boost those characters. So the reason why I'm putting her here is because her banner was quite recent, right? In January this year. Hopefully, most of you guys were able to obtain her. But even if you couldn't obtain her, she's a standard banner character. So eventually you're going to obtain her anyways. So that's going to be something that's like, it's going to come eventually. So I feel like she is going to be a better value, alright? If you don't have Rapid Red Hood, you don't have any other Asuka, then this particular Rei is going to be the better value. But if you have Asuka Wille, then this particular Rei Tentative name has the better value for you. I feel like she is going to be way better in terms of providing support to her, and then you can basically complement together to do one team. Very useful in terms of tackling Kraken as well, if you guys are trying to do that for the special interception, right? So that's going to be where it's at. So I honestly think this is going to be dependent on whether or not you have Asuka Wille. Alright, so that's going to be the most important factor. So Rei Tentative name, she sort of can act as a standalone character, but I wouldn't recommend that, right? I would recommend looking at her as an Asuka Wille boost. So if you have Asuka Wille, get her. If not, then get her instead, right? That's just pretty much how I look at it. Now, as for this particular Asuka, I've already mentioned previously before, still strong, still solid. But you should only obtain her if you really love her design, because I feel like it's just a matter of time when we get more and more Fire Code Nikkes, and then she's probably eventually going to get, maybe not phased out completely, because Nikke, you still need 5 teams, right? You still need 5 teams for solo raids and maybe 3 teams for union raids. But a lot of players probably already have way more flexible teams in terms of relying on specialized Nikkes. For example, like Cinderella is going to be one of those that are, even though she's electric, but I think she fits in almost every single solo raid, right? We have, you know, Scarlet Black Shadow, Alice for the other team, and those are going to be those situations, right? Asuka, she's strong if you're trying to tackle boss who is weak to fire, and you know, or the boss is weak to pierce, sure, right? But at the end of the day, you gotta ask yourself, are you an endgame player? If you are, definitely she's going to be good. If you're more on the semi-casual and casual player side, you can get away with not having her. Now, how about Mari Makinami? So she's the only burst 2 character in this game. Now, right now, in terms of burst 2, alright, we have a lot of other options. The current best burst 2 in the game is Crown, by far. Alright, if you just look at burst 2 and you don't care about everything else, that's fine. So Crown is going to be the best burst 2 in the game. She is undeniably the best one. Alright, so you use her, she is going to fit in almost every single team. If you only need one burst 2 character, it's Crown. Alright, you want to play story, you want to play a simulation, you want to play tower, and if you can use her, it's going to be her. Now, where you need multiple burst 2 is going to be in solo raids or union raids, like I mentioned, right? So that's where things get a little bit more tricky. So there's a lot of other burst 2 characters right now. Grave is also going to be one that recently came out. You know, she's also a Pilgrim burst 2, very strong character as well. She's also Fire Code, pairs really well with Asuka. You know, you put her with D-Killer for the Pierce team. Very useful there. But the truth is, alright, if you got Crown, you got Grave. I would say Grave is like the second best for now in terms of burst 2. And recently, alright, during the last Valentine, we also got 2 more character, the so-called twins. Alright, they're not really twins, but you gotta use them in a pair. And that's going to be, in this case, Masked Romantic Maid, this girl right here, alongside with Anchor Innocent Maid. So if you got these 2, now you got 3 teams for burst 2, right? And then you got Blanc and Noir for the 4th team, and then you got Tia and Naga for the 5th team. You can also use Shotgun team. So you can see there's a lot of other options in terms of giving you flexibility for burst 2, right? You can get away with sometimes using Marciana as well, just to heal. Alright, you can also get away with maybe using, in this case, Dola as well. Now, is she useless? No. In fact, I think she's pretty good. Alright, if you can afford to, again, I'm going to push towards 1 copy. But is she a must-have? I would say no. Alright, because the last 2 solo raids, I actually didn't use her. I did not use Mari Makinami at all. Now, I do see that there are some players that use her, some players that do not. So I would say that she's still going to be an option for you if you're lacking in burst 2. She's going to be one of the few better ones. And the reason why I don't use her as much is because she doesn't have any healing in her burst 2, right? That's going to be a little bit tricky. So notice it's all about increasing damage, pierce damage right here, and gonna increase your attack percent, and of course attack damage, right? Now, if you're just looking for like raw damage, sure, she provides that, but sometimes in solo raids, you're looking for survivability, and you guys have to be careful if you're looking at the top 100 teams that's displayed usually on your server. Those players are going to like retry a lot of times to try to make it work, because they're going to strive for damage to place themselves in the high score rankings than efficiency, so they are willing to like maybe sit down there and try to like retry over and over and over and over again. But if you're a more casual player, it's better to just lean towards some other characters that can heal you on burst 2, right? Now overall, this is going to be my honest thoughts regarding the Evangelion collab. Like I said, you know, again, I want to emphasize, if you can get one copy of each of them, get them. But if not, you have to pick one that should be your priority. Asuka Wille, by far. Alright, once you get her, follow this path, right? If you obtain her, then follow on this path, right? Rei Tentative name to be your second priority, then Rei, then Asuka, then Mari Makinami. I would say this is going to be in terms of the order of priority. Alright, so with that being said, that's going to be pretty much it for this particular video. Now, I get it, some of you guys might disagree with me, and that's fine, right? Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comment section below. I'm curious to hear from some of you guys as well. As per usual, don't forget to subscribe, give this video a like, and I'll do an account review very, very soon. Stay tuned. Have a nice day. Goodbye.